The Georgia Police Department is facing scrutiny after posting photos from a recent weekend civilians firearm training class. It appears that all of the targets in the photos were of a black man. So here's the Facebook post from the Villa Rica Police Department. You can see there's several photos. And if you look a little closer, as we are about to, at the targets are pictures of a black man holding up a gun, wearing a beanie. They posted this themselves. We got a few more pictures here. I mean, this is absurd. And they did have to issue an apology, but they also defended themselves, saying that targets of other races were used as well, although I don't see any of them pictured. So from NBC News, Villa Rica's chief of police, Michael Mansour, said the targets with black men are used all over the state for training, and that during the class, the department used other targets depicting individuals who were white and Asian. Now here's that police chief. We have a picture of him. There he is. Now Mansour says his mistake was in posting the photos, which only showed those specific targets. That's his mistake, according to him. From NBC News, it's just an innocent mistake, but it was a mistake, Mansour told NBC News. And I'm very transparent in saying that we messed up. But at no time will I accept people telling me I'm a racist or our department is a racist because we made a mistake. I mean, the mistake is using the images of black men, not just that you posted it on Facebook, but they did post an official apology on their Facebook, claiming that the targets were a part of a package of several ethnic groups, which is so deeply disturbing in its own regard. The Villa Rica Police Department strives to be conscious of how our relationship with the community, our community members, has a direct impact on our effectiveness within the community we serve. The targets utilized in our recent firearm class depict realistic human images and were part of a package which included target images of people from various ethnic groups. But that begs the question, does this mean that they purposely went through the pack and picked out all the black targets and lined them up to use for this exercise? And it's not even the first time a police department has come under fire for using these images for target practice. This happened exactly a year ago in Michigan too. The same picture. Cub Scout leader claims Farmington Hills police shooting targets were all black men. You can see it's the exact same picture. And there's another image. We have the child's face is blurred out of this picture. There it is, all the bullet holes through it. Now, they let little kids shoot these. Here's from the article. They took the little kids, this Cub Scout troop, down to the basement where they do the target practice, said attorney Diane Webster Cox. And their targets are all black men. I was just outraged by that. She started researching the Farmington Hill Police Department and learned that a former black police officer on the force filed a complaint charging racial bias against the department in 2021. And lastly, much like this recent situation in Georgia, she learned that the targets were part of a larger package. From Fox 2 Detroit, they ordered this target. They had lots of groups, Caucasians. It was very diverse, Cox said. Now, how is it that you ordered these, but the only ones you are actually using is the black men? I mean, so first of all, Jessica, these are children doing target practice and civilians doing target practice. Why do you need the targets to be realistic or human-like? I don't even think police need to be trained with realistic or human-like targets. I always found that odd when people shoot at human pictures of people as a target. But I mean, it's not an accident. If you're saying that these packs have, it's a multi-ethnic pack of trading targets, right? Like, you went out of your way to pick out all the black pictures.
Yeah, they're kind of telling themselves, statistically speaking, by saying we wanted a realistic human target because they do disproportionately shoot black men. It reminds me of the episode of Atlanta, brilliant show, but the episode where they're at the shooting range and someone pulls up, it's one of the typical cartoon drawn targets, which is what I'm used to using at the range. Any kind of realistic photo of a person is inappropriate in my opinion, but they had a dog outline and they put it out, and all of these people who were shooting their targets, which looked like humans, were just outraged that it was a dog. And the regard for human life that we have for when it comes to unarmed black men getting shot by the police, that being less than when it's a dog, I think tells us everything we need to know about how a lot of white people see the loss of life in the United States. But also, let's not forget that the cops have a tendency for shooting dogs as well. But for them to pick a realistic target and have it be a black man in a hat, and for it to be so faded that you can't even tell what's in his hand, if it's a gun, if it's a vape, which we've had black men get shot for reaching over for their vape when someone came in the room in the middle of the night. Turns out it was a cop executing a search warrant, a no-knock warrant, ends up shooting the kid for reaching for the vape. I mean, it's just kind of poetic, and it's kind of them telling on themselves by using this target. It shouldn't happen. It's unnecessary. The police very clearly are training to be in the streets and to be people who act in a way that protects property and protects privileged white people, not as a force of any kind of public good.
Right. And as we saw in those two stories, they're not just training themselves to behave like that. They're opening up that training to civilians and children. And I mean, God, if some of those Cub Scouts were little black children, how does that make you feel when you're leaving the range, that you are viewed as an enemy, as a villain in the story of the way that the cops see you? I mean, it is mortifying.